Okay, good. We can work with that. We can work with proceeds.
just ascertain the status of the quorum. I was informed that we are short 10. We are now at 90. We need a quorum of 100. So I would encourage all to call their friends and co-workers who are members of the IECCU, because if we don't achieve that quorum in another 20 minutes, we're going to have to do this again. So, you know, I think the good thing about it is that a lot of our stakeholders are within the New Kingston area. So we just need to call them to ask their supervisors and their bosses to get them released for an hour, because once the quorum is established, I want us to move speedily along in the agenda so we can get out of here in a reasonable time. All right? So I just, you know, ask for your continuing patience until we have established the quorum. Thank you. Good afternoon again, folks. It's 3 o'clock and we are still not established a quorum. However, I have asked the Department of Co-operative for some extra time so that we can obtain the quorum. So again, we continue to crave your indulgence for another half an hour. So please get on your phone for me. Call your friends, relatives, all who are members of the IECCU. Tell them we'll send a bus for them so that we can have them. 5 more to go? Right. Bring 10 just to ensure that we have extras. Right? Thanks again, ladies. And thank you folks for your indulgence.
Somebody lost their keys.
Subaru?
No, yes.
But then I shouldn't ask. All right, so folks, we haven't yet established a quorum, but I believe we have a workable compromise, and here's how it works. So the meeting cannot be called to order without the quorum. So what we'll be doing, we'll kind of open, we'll do the prior facetious, we'll discuss the reports. Once our quorum has been established, we'll go back, call the meeting to order, and have confirmation and adoption of the different reports and minutes. How is that? Excellent. All right. So, at this juncture, I won't even establish the time because, like I said, it is irrelevant. That will be irrelevant for the record until we start the meeting. Oh, housekeeping matters. Some set of keys have been found. So anybody missing some key? Well, you can't leave without the key anyway. It's a car key. All right. So at this time, I will invite Madam Secretary, Marjorie, to take us through the prior of assizes. Marjorie? Hold on, 2 seconds, Marjorie.
Good afternoon, fellow cooperators. It's good to see you all. We are grateful that the rain has held up and the sun is out, and we pray Godspeed for the members that are on their way to make a quorum. I'll now read the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there's hatred, let peace sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. And where there's sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. Welcome to the 44th Annual General Meeting of the Insurance Employees Corporate Credit Union. Remember the rules of engagement. So, at this time, I just want to, pretty much the minutes of the last AGM having been circulated electronically. I take it that it'll be, I can't move a motion actually, what I was saying. I take it that they have been read. Are there any, remember we're not going to adopt the minutes, we just want to discuss the minutes. Are there any material omissions or correction that you want to make? You want to advise us of those minutes. As you can see, we did not print any copies of the annual reports because we circulated them electronically, and given our COVID environment, we had anticipated that you would have downloaded them on your smart device and take them to the meeting with you. Okay. I would like to pretty much, introduce and greet our guest from the league. I'm going to err on the side of caution. Cleo Errar. Oh, Miss. I didn't want to say Mrs. Right? Errar. Is this Melaine Campbell? Excellent. And Mrs. De Aguilar, Katharina De Aguilar. From the Department of Cooperative and Friendly Society, Marjorie Campbell and Trishan Thompson. Our auditor, Mr. Warren Bogle. And our stenographer, Joyce James. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow cooperators, staff of the IECCU Board of Directors, gentlemen, ladies, good afternoon. Right, so I was hoping that by now we would have been very far advanced in the meeting, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to go through the Board of Directors report, and then we can we'll discuss the other reports, soon thereafter. The Board of Directors, your Board of Directors consists of me, your President, Cosmo Walker, and as I call the name of the directors, you could just please stand and acknowledge, your presence for me, please. Ray Johnson, thank you. Already standing. Cosmo Walker, Vice President. Our Treasurer, Lisa Robinson. Marjorie Nita, our Secretary. Rajon Campbell. Barrington Lawrence. And Mark Wallen. Sherry Davis Cuthbert and Peter Townsend are on their way here. They had some meeting and commitment that forces them to be late this evening. Let us now talk a little bit about the year in review. And the year for us is 2019. And we're going to start that by looking at the external environment, because we are in the financial service sector, so we want to shape the performance of our financial in light of the external and business environments. So business and consumer confidence in 2019 started out, very bullish. If you're one of those persons who is tracking the indicator, it was 151.3 relative to 117.7 in 2018. But, all good things never last for long, other than what I said, salvation. And some of that confidence was eroded quickly in the fourth quarter, putting the index down at 131, which is still higher than its year. It's at the end of the previous year, 2018. So this swing in the confidence pretty much signal a balance between the bullish attitude of the consumer, with, of course, the realism that pretty much highlights the investing and the business environment in general. In looking at the economic variables, inflation at the end of the year was 2.4%. And please, don't tell me that it wasn't that, because you don't see that in the supermarket. We take the numbers as we get them, But that was below the target of 4%. Treasury bill rates, which is the signal benchmark rates for secured investment, was about 2%. And you will see that the numbers in terms of the Treasury bill rates, when you compare that with 2018 at the end of December, it is trending downwards, which is good news for businesses. But as you know, that once there is a decline in the fixed income rates, you'll see some corresponding movements in the stock market and even the exchange rate. The Jamaican dollar, because people tend to want to maximize their opportunities. The Jamaican dollar lost some value in 2019. So you're comparing $127 Jamaican, $128 Jamaican at the end of 2018 to approximately $134 at the end of 2019. And the chart on your screen shows the fluctuation in the exchange rate, depreciation against the US dollars in 2019. As I was saying before, the stock market pretty much responded to the fall in the fixed income rate, and the stock market again performed very well in 2019. And the chart on the screen will show the movement, which pretty much peaked in about July and plateaued thereafter. So what you've seen so far in terms of the movement in the exchange rate and the movement in the stock market is that people were reshaping their portfolios to accept more riskier investments in pursuit of higher returns. So as an institution, we'll see where, people will be placing their funds, pretty much where they can get the biggest bang for their bucks. Continue, please. Right, so that pretty much shows you the graphic position of the loans and saving rates. Pretty much, you notice that both of them were flat. So savings and loan were pretty stable throughout the year. In looking at our performance as a entity. We're looking at the highlights now for the performance of the IECCU in 2019. So loan interest income continued to be our biggest contributor to our bottom line. And this increased by 2% from approximately $150 million in 2018 to approximately $153 million in 2019. Corresponding to the fall in interest rate, there was we know on our books, the cost of fund also declined by approximately $13 million. Operating costs from the entity increased by 11%, or just about $14 million. And that was driven primarily by increased staff costs as some new job functions and positions were filled during the year. And these were positions that were earmarked previously, but they're just being filled. All said, we were able to realize a surplus of $7.5 million. So in a challenging year, we must commend the management and staff of IECCU to still, put us in the black. So folks, a commendation to the staff and management. Now, your board, which I pretty much outlined to you previously, we met on 8 occasions. And these were the attendance. That's the attendance register that you see on your screen. In looking at, continue please. Mark, continue for me. Next. Right. In looking more at our operations, member service activities 2019 versus 2018, see some increase in the membership. Persons were, utilizing internet banking a little bit more than 2018. In terms of getting new FIP plans, pretty much flat, well, a little down from the previous year. And the other indicators shows decline, creation of global accounts and the issuing of debit cards shows some decline over the previous year. But these declines, like I said, are marginal declines. From a human perspective, human resource perspective, some policies were updated. Some key policies were updated: or enterprise risk management policy, IT security, Proceeds of Crime Act, and marketing. And these are policies that are updated, on a regular basis, on an annual basis. So, we got those in. And as outlined previously before, with the increase in staff costs, we were able to fill permanent positions in compliance and marketing units. The table on the screen shows the movement in some of the plans that we have on our books. Of course, we continue to try to get more increase in these numbers. IECCU continue to be a corporate socially responsible organization. And as tradition, we issues bursaries and awards to children of our members. In 2019, Shani Davis, daughter of one of our members, Yvette Davis, and Giovanni McLaughlin, son of Diana, John McLaughlin, were awarded GSOT's scholarship. PEP, exactly. 2019 is actually PEP. Yes, PEP scholarship. And of course, the bursary was awarded to Tajani Jones, daughter of Olinda Prescott Jones. Continue our corporate social responsible outreach. We renovate some of the facilities at Richmond Nazarene Basic School, where it was met with great appreciation by the student and staff. And we'll continue to do our part in the coming years. Our Montego Bay office continued to be a nice bright beacon in the West. You see some, the performance of that unit. And like I said, we are always amazed by the performance of that unit, because Mark is just one person in there. With occasionally we send some rotate some migrants from Kingston to help out whenever that person is on leave. But yes, this unit continued to perform in a nice, stellar way. So this is just to summarize the performance of the Montego Bay office. Deposit increased by 9%, loan granted increased by 87%, which is significant. Right? So, Mark, can imagine if we double the staff, triple the staff, maybe, we might have, exponential increases. So something to think of. We are improving our use of technology. So emailing statements instead of printing and mailing statements has proven to be a reliable, efficient, and safe way to deliver these statements. Of course, it will be more cost-effective, cost-efficient for us. And we encourage members who currently are not receiving these reports in that method should sign up, so that you can get the message, get those statements in your inbox very soon. Especially in our current COVID environment, greater reliance on technology is the way to go. Right. So pretty much, we'll continue to upgrade our IT platform to facilitate the greater use of members of these technologies. I'm sure by now everybody in this room would be aware of the upgrade that is on course with the Jamaica Co-operative Credit Union Leagues in terms of replacing the Access Plus card with a MasterCard. I know I heard with envy a particular credit union saying that they're doing it already, but based on when I last spoke to Mark about this idea, we were well on the way to pretty much be issuing these cards. So I'm sure early in 2021, you'll be replacing those Access Plus card with new MasterCard. And folks, there's tremendous benefits that will flow from having from that switch. So I encourage you, once that come around, to adopt and use those cards. They're more flexible than your current Access Plus card. Our delinquency ratio continued to trend downward, which is very good. At the end of 2018, it was 3.78. At the end of last year, 2019, it was 2.21%. And of course, this is good news. And how we achieve that pretty much is having closer relationship, closer collaboration with our members, negotiating loan balances, using all the available means to reach our members. But importantly, the Credit Bureau, I believe, and Collection Agency had a great factor in having this thing, that ratio coming down. And of course, we urge our members to communicate with us. We're a union of possibilities, so whenever you're having issues, before you're having these issues, come to us. We will be able to work out something with you. The league continued to be a leading voice within the the fabric of the financial sector in Jamaica. But in Jamaica, in general, in 2019, the theme of the league was local reach, local service, global reach. Sometimes my reading is dyslexic. Right. Last year when I was at this podium, we were talking about merger. We had discussion with 2 credit unions because I wanted to ride through government whistle at the same time. So we engaged 2 credit unions to see if we were a better fit. And we actually had discussions, but those discussions came over into this year, into 2020, and we know what happened after February of this year. COVID pandemic took over all our lives, and those discussions got a little bit sidelined. But I expect that the new board will continue those discussions, maybe with different credit unions, but we'll continue those discussions. As usual, we like to pretty much report on, or should I say, memorialize the passing of our members once we become aware of them. And in 2019, we suffered the loss of a couple of our members, Elon Cowell, Dorrit Gentles, Edmund Gordon, Dennis Leon, Eugene Anderson, Dervin Northover, Nellie Reed, Andrea Rochester Wint, Ines Shaw, Karen Silveira. And if there are others who weren't mentioned, you can always tell us. Of course, their contribution to the credit union, is greatly missed. I know that next year we will be reporting the passing of a person in 2020 because we also suffer some loss this year of some of our members. So, coming to the close of my report, your credit union, the Union of Possibility, would like to recognize you, the members, for your continuing support in making this credit union your credit union of choice. So, we understand the importance of reimagining our strategy and using creative and effective means to get to you the more efficient service and, of course, better products. We continue to face challenges, but we will continue to innovate to pretty much meet your needs. And we encourage you to work with us to ensure that not only do we serve you, but we serve you to your satisfaction. So on behalf of my colleague on the board, my colleague on the various committees, I'd like to thank you for your continued loyalty. And despite the challenges in 2019, pretty much you have helped us to achieve our goal. Like I said, we have made a decent enough surplus. And with your help, God's willing, we'll remain and always be your union of possibilities. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as a quorum is ascertained, we'll go back to this report so we can have the report adopted for the minutes. So this is a good time, folks, for you to ask me all the easy questions. This is the last time you're going to see me here standing as a director. I'm at the point where you have what is called term limits, which I fully endorse, giving some new persons chance to serve. So, question times. No question? I know we did a great job, guys, but come on. Oh, somebody said I want to go home. I heard that. All right, if there's no question, I'll invite Madam Treasurer to present our report.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow cooperators. I think my report will be short, as much as we have a slide presentation, because I think our president went through quite a bit in terms of his summary of how we have done throughout the year. So I will not belabor any of the points too much. But as you can see, which he spoke to earlier, our asset growth, total assets grew by 1.5%, or 27 million, which he indicated in a chart that he showed you. It's kind of flat in terms of the growth, but we grew nonetheless. Our loans after provisions grew by 1%, and interest on loans increased by a similar margin. Our return on property improved by 8% over prior year, and our service charges income increased by 5%, and I'm happy that that showed some increase. I mean, that's not something that we're typically known for in terms of fees, but that's where we're going, because we have to recognize that there is a cost to the business when we do all of the services that we have. But it redounds and comes back to you eventually. During the year, finance costs associated with the deposit products were reduced in line with market rates, and Ray spoke to that as well. And this resulted in a reduction in our interest costs by about 40%. So while we generally would want to offer higher rates on low-risk instruments, we did see some falling rates that would not allow us to do that, right? And so going forward, though, we know the credit union will always be looking for other areas in which to invest, which will not necessarily give us a great level of higher risk, but will also give us better returns eventually. Our members' savings in share accounts increased by 6%, or as the chart at the PowerPoint shows, 43.7 million as at 31st of December 2019. But there was a decline in time deposits by 3.6%. And I can probably share that that is kind of in keeping with what's in the market. Right now, we do see a lot of people wanting to remain more liquid in terms of easier access to their funds. This is just a summary of the source of funds how it was distributed across. And I know you would have access to the report, so this is also detailed in the report on the website, so you can spend some time and go through that as well. Our equity, institutional capital to assets, increased marginally to 15.3%. The standard is 10%, so we are in good standing, and our equity remains robust in spite of a $3 million reduction, so we still are quite healthy as an organization. And the chart following shows how the funds were used. As you can see, a majority of it was used in loans, which is one of our main areas of earning income for the credit union. So as it says, our loan to assets is 76%, and Ray so pointed out that our delinquency rate was 2.21%, and I can tell you that's a very, very good showing by the credit union. A lot of organizations don't see these figures. I can tell you it's a struggle, so you really need to commend yourselves for being good at it. The other tables just show some of our, what they call our pearl ratios, in terms of how we're doing, our adequacy, etc. And for the most part, we have been doing very well in maintaining or within our margins that we have been mandated to be. So I'm just happy because our credit union continues to remain viable, continues to remain strong. You have something to be proud of because you have made the credit union what it is. So as I said, I'm not going to belabor the point. All of these are detailed in the report on the website. So, and I'm mindful that some persons said they want to go home. It's getting a little late. So in concluding, as I said, we strive to help our members achieve financial well-being. That is our goal, by offering relevant products and services at acceptable costs. And we know that challenges that we face as an individual and organization are many. But be assured that we at the credit union, our objectives are just like your own, and that is to maximize earnings and minimize costs. And one very real challenge that we are faced with is that of knowing our members and assisting them in the best possible ways, their union of possibilities. And I just want to plug, when we say to know our members, we have many members out there who don't come to the AGM or for whom we don't have much information, and we encourage you who are here to have those persons, come in, encourage them to come in, because that is what is going to help us to be able to widen our digital footprint, to be able to reach you in those ways. So you don't have to walk into the office to be, if we don't have that, then we won't be able to do things at the minimal costs that we really want. We strive to provide you with the services. So we just want to encourage everyone to tell the other to come in, get your things updated, get your CIF, your member information updated. So despite everything, though, we remain prudent in our operation of your credit union and in observance of the requirements of our regulators, which is very, very important, and industry best practices and reporting requirements as set out for financial institutions. And we continue to commit to doing our best to achieve all in spite of the challenges. And so with that, I end my report.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. And I've just been informed that we have a quorum mark. Excellent. So, it's now 3:58. Meeting call to order. Apologies for absence. Okay, good. Folks, this is the time to get the name in the next annual report. So, back to the agenda. So the minutes of the 43rd Annual General Meeting having been circulated, I take them as being read. Are there any material changes to the minutes? Omissions or corrections? Going once, going twice, 3 times. There be none. I ask for a motion that the minutes of the 43rd Annual General Meeting be adopted. Moved by Barrett. Yeah. So when you're moving or seconding the motion, just indicate your name and where you're from. Do we have a seconder? So the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Against? The ayes have it. Madam Secretary and Stenographer, the minutes have been adopted. Matters arising not covered in the reports. Mark, do we have any of those? So all the matters that arose have been dealt with. Item back now to the reports. You have heard the Board of Directors report. There were no questions. So I'm moving a motion for the adoption of the Board of Directors report. Come, guys, I need names and where you're from. That's how we do this thing, man. Motion for the adoption of the BOD report. Is that Peter's? Oh, is that Gabriel seen? No, sorry, I shouldn't be knowing your name. You should tell everybody your name. Seconded by? Marjorie. Marjorie Nita, not yet retired, at the end of this meeting. So the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. You've also heard the Treasurer presented a report. I need a motion for the adoption of the Treasurer's report. Peter Samuels, now at Caribbean Insurance Brokers. Seconded? Folks? You have that Tajay Brown? Tajay Brown, General Accident Insurance Company. Those in favor? Against? We have a young member here. Don't worry about him. I'm sure he has one of the youth account. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? Madam Secretary, Madam Treasurer, your report has been adopted. I now invite Mr. Bogle to present the auditor's report.
Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon, President. Good afternoon, Board of Directors. My name is Warren Bogle, and I'm here to present you the auditor's report for the Insurance Cooperative Credit Union financial statements for 2019. We have audited the financial statements of Insurance Employees Cooperative Credit Union, the credit union, set out on, when we had issued it, it was pages 5 to 37, which comprise the statements of financial position as at 31 December 2019, the statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, changes in equity and cash flows for the year then ended, and notes comprising significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. The basis for our opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the credit union in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board of 4 accountants, reading from phone, Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, and we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. The key audit matters are those matters that are, in our opinion, were of most significance in our audit of the financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statements as a whole and informing our opinion thereon. We do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. During the current year audit, there were 2 areas which we consider to be key audit matters. The impact of coronavirus. The credit union has assessed the impact of the recent coronavirus and its ability to continue as a going concern. In this evaluation, the credit union assessed its industry, including its customer base, in determining the potential future impacts. Our responsibility was to assess these factors and determine if management's conclusions as to the ability to continue as a going concern is reasonable. Management has concluded that based on the industry in which it is which it currently is, there will not be significant negative impact on its ability to continue as a going concern. We have assessed the factors and based on the type of industry found no significant exception to their conclusion. Leases. During the current year, a new IFRS 16 became effective, which had a potential impact on the credit union's accounting for its operating leases. Management has determined that these leases are classified as either low cost or short-term leases, and therefore no accounting changes have been deemed necessary. We evaluated the lease contracts and had discussions with management. Based on the evaluation of the lease contracts and the materiality of the leases as compared to its overall property, plant, and equipment, or fixed assets, we found no exception to this management's assertion. Other information. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the information included in the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon. The annual report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. Our opinion on the financial statements does not cover the other information, and we will not express any form of assurance or conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit, the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available, and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or with our knowledge obtained in the audit or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. When we read the annual report, if we conclude that there is a material misstatement therein, we are required to communicate the matter to the Board of Directors. Responsibility of management and the Board of Directors for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with IFRS and the Jamaican Companies Act, and for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the credit union's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as applicable matters related to going concern, and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the credit union or to cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. The Board of Directors is responsible for overseeing the credit union's financial reporting process. Auditors' responsibilities for the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report, and that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it is not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with ISA will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if individually or in the aggregate they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of these financial statements. A further description of our responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements is included later in this report. We have obtained all information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been maintained so far as from our examination of those records and the financial statements which are in agreement therewith give the information required by the Jamaican Companies Act in the manner required. The engagement partner on the audit resulting in this auditor's report is Warwick Bogle, signed Bogle and Company, Chartered Accountants of Kingston, Jamaica, August 26th.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the auditor's report. There have been no questions. I ask for a motion to be moved for the adoption of the auditor's report. Guys, you're not working. Name, please.
Angela Freeburg.
From where?
Sandy Corner.
Excellent. That's a seconder? So the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in favor? Aye. Against? The auditor's report has been accepted. We're now on to the supervisory report, and I invite the chair of the supervisory committee to come and present a report.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Supervisory Committee report for the period under review. At the first meeting of the committee, overall objective is to ensure that there is compliance with the key requirements to ensure transparency as well as ensure soundness, and that the credit union operation is in the best interest of its members. In keeping with that, the committee, at its first meeting, elected the chair, yours truly, Carol Nathan. As secretary also, we elected Marjorie Hamilton Clark, and the committee met 5 times throughout its operation. It should be noted that the committee communicated on a number of other times concerning the credit union's business via the various technologies that were available. The following table gives an outline of the credit union's members' attendance, both at face-to-face and online meetings. So you could observe that. Our meetings were somewhat curtailed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but as we recognized the challenges that we had, we quickly adjusted, and as such, we started having some of our meetings via the online means. The committee probed the operations of the credit union and investigated areas such as the human resource management, the information technology areas. We also looked at the financial management, risk and compliance, and delinquency. And we want to commend the credit union's management for the overall running of the credit union. We just want to point out a few areas of concern. However, with regards to information and communications technology, the committee has noted the approval of ICT protocols and other guidelines by the board, which we are very happy for. There is still a little bit of concern, however, regarding adherence to guidelines on matters such as segregation of duties with its internal control risk challenges and the need for a review of the disaster recovery management plan, which in our opinion is long overdue. This, we believe, is important as it has implications for the proper risk management, which is key to the credit union's wellness. Also, on the area of financial management, the credit union, we recognize that the credit union is in keeping with the PERS ratio in some very key areas, and we want to recognize, and as we were pointed to earlier, that the delinquency ratio is very good, and there has been improvement with that ratio in keeping with the standards. There still remains some amount of concern, however, regarding signs of growth indicators, which has been way below the PERL standards. These growth indicators, such as growth in total assets and growth in membership, definitely need some amount of strengthening. These have serious implications for the credit union's health and sustainability, and so we want to bring that to the membership attention. In the matter of growth, the credit union's effort to grow its membership has been noted by the supervisor committee, notwithstanding the poor growth rate that we are now experiencing. The recommendation is for more aggressive and deliberate marketing strategies within the industry to improve this low growth. On the point of delinquency, the overall delinquency ratio has been acceptable, as it was pointed out earlier. However, it was noted when we did our analysis at that time that a significant percentage of the delinquent loans still were within the category of over 360 days band. This, I think, has been adjusted to some extent, but we recommend consideration for the charging off of these loans in keeping with best policy practices within the industry. Concerning the BOJ regulatory changes, it was noted that a number of policies and procedures were put in place to ensure the credit union's readiness for the BOJ regulatory changes. And so we want to commend the board of directors for ensuring that all of these many policies and procedures were approved within the period 2019 November to April 2020. With the impact of COVID pandemic, the committee has observed that many changes were made in the credit union's operation during this period to ensure the safety of its members and staff. And we want to express commendation to the management and staff for the continued service that they provided during this COVID-19 pandemic. Let us give them a round of applause for that. We want to, however, state that the committee expresses concerns that the implementations of audit recommendations were not always done in a timely manner as we would have expected. And it is recommended that a swifter action be taken in regard to the various audit recommendations. On the point of acknowledgement, the supervisor committee wishes to express appreciation to the members of the credit union for the confidence placed in us to serve the membership. We also want to say thanks to the board of directors, other volunteers, the management and staff of the credit union for the support and cooperation given during this our tenure. We also wish to thank the management and staff of the Credit Union League, the Jamaica Co-operative Credit Union League, for their advice and support to the committee during its term of office. Let me also say thank you to the members of the Supervisor Committee for their time and commitment to serve the committee, the staff, volunteers, and credit union membership at large. Carol Nathan. I just want to personally say thank you. I think I demit office in terms of based on tenure, as our president said. And so I just want to say thank you for the credit union for the faith, for serving, and I wish all the best.
Thank you, Madam Chair of the Supervisor Committee. Folks, you have heard the report of the Supervisor Committee. Any questions? Okay, so we are now asked for a motion for the adoption of the Supervisor report. Name, please. I think you need to speak loudly enough for the stenographer. Julia Stewart, Garden Life. That's seconded by? Doreen Allen from? From the Church of God of Prophecy. A member of this credit union. Those in favor? Against? Madam Chair, your report has been adopted. I now invite the chair of the credit committee to present the report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me quickly add, the chair of the committee is Mr. Woodrow Smallwood, but he's not here this evening because he has some engagements. So I had asked on his behalf. To the members of the head table, to you all protocols observed. Let me get my glasses on to make sure that I can see. So during the year 2019, members continually placed a demand on the IECCU to finance your home deposit and improvement plans. The vehicular purchases, of course, repairs, personal and educational development costs, as well as consolidation efforts, among other purposes. This demand was facilitated to the extent that a total of $571 million was loaned. Existing loan offerings were enhanced, while new loan options were introduced. These were mainly the water tank loan and the Christmas loan. IECCU's loan profile remained flat relative to the year 2018, with a total loan portfolio valued at $1.48 billion, registering a slight increase. Of course, there's a little graph here which you're not seeing. But loan applications were processed by staff and were consistently reviewed by the credit committee, which convened weekly. The members of the committee are Paulette Small, Audrey Longmore Wilson, Odian Campbell, yours truly, Courtney Golding, and of course, our chairman, Mr. Woodrow Smallwood. We as a committee register our willingness to continue serving in this capacity. The credit committee expresses its appreciation to you, the members, for making IECCU your credit union of choice. Ladies and gentlemen, the report of the credit committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. You have heard the report of the credit committee. If there are no questions, ask for a motion to adopt the credit committee report. Guys, usually when I come to the podium, I'm queuing you up for you to tell me who's moving the motion, who's seconding the motion. Okay, name please. Ava Thomas Sajikor, seconded by? Yvonne Cross, Garden Life. Those in favor? Against? Motion carries. We are now on to the reports of the delegates to the League. Mark, who is presenting that report? Okay, so we have the GM presenting that report.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a report of the annual general meeting of the League in 2019, the one that took place in, not this year, but last year. The theme of the meeting was people helping people achieve. People helping people achieve. And that really is a statement about what credit unions do. At the end of the day, a credit union is really, it's really our little bank. Eh? That's really what we are, and we're helping each other by making sure that our savings help somebody else who wants to borrow. So that is basically what the theme was. There were 5 workshops that I want to mention, and these were very, very interesting. The healing power of Jamaican herbs. Now, the word herb should be widely interpreted. It's widely interpreted. Because it applies to all sorts of herbs that we should be contemplating capitalizing on in Jamaica. One of the things of interest is how can credit unions help persons in the agricultural industry to capitalize on the opportunities that arise from the decriminalization of certain herbs. So these are things that we as a movement have to look and contemplate to see how we can help our members. Due process in dispute resolutions. Obviously, credit unions are becoming larger and larger and have to do with members, with employees, just like every other organization. And so we have to understand how we're dealing with people so that we can get the best out of them. The third is handling grievances, which is a follow-up to the one before, and separations. How to provide and measure the value of your members. Every member is not the same member, and so we have to understand our members and know them very well, especially as 2020 has taught us. And the art of dealing with non-performing loans, well, I think we can help to teach them about that, because I think we've been doing very well over the past year. So those are the workshops that took place, and I must say that it was a very educational experience, and we look forward to attending these from time to time. But I won't take up your time. Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? There being no questions, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mark. So, folks, you have heard the reports of the delegates to the Lee's report. I now invite a person to move for the adoption of the report. Yes, sir? Seconded by? Seconded by? Carol Nathan. Where are you from, Carol? From UTEC. Those in favor? Against? The League report, the delegates' report is adopted. Folks, we are now at the point where we invite the treasurer back to the podium to move certain resolutions, and she will take us through them. Madam Treasurer.
Okay. Can you read this? No, I'm just saying you have to read this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have a proposal for the appropriation of surplus for the year ending December 31, 2019. And your board proposes the appropriation of surplus as follows. The surplus was $7,505,235. Reserve fund is 20%, which amounts to $1,501,047. And the dividend on permanent shares, which is approximately 10% of $3 million. Honorarium, $2 million. and undistributed surplus of $1,004,188. What is this? All right. So you can help me with this.
So folks, you have heard the resolutions. So now we are again inviting, this is what this one very quickly again. So ask for the person in favor of that motion, of those resolutions. We need a motion first. Guys, we're giving back some money, so that we did quickly. Peter Samuels, from Caribbean Insurance Broker. Seconded by? Oh, we have two persons here. Okay, can we have two seconders? Raquel, Francis, Advantage General. Those in favor? Against? Madam Secretary, Madam Treasurer, your motions have been moved and seconded and approved.
All right. So we have the next one.
Next one.
Where the Board of Directors proposes that the maximum liability for 2020 be set at $2 billion. This will satisfy the maximum projected growth in interest-bearing liabilities during 2019 in relation to Article 19, Rule 69. So let's move on.
Right, so you have heard the proposal to increase the maximum liability to $2 billion. Those in favor, motion to move that to a motion for that resolution, please. Yes, ma'am. Alisa Hilton, Advantage General, and seconded by? What's your name? Charmaine Mighty Campbell. Grassman Group. Those in favor? Aye. Against? Madam Treasurer, your motion to increase the maximum liability has been approved.
Thank you. We have a proposal for a rule change, number 21, that states all disbursements shall be made by check or other electronic means, written instrument signed, authorized by two signatories, duly authorized by the Board of Directors, provided the Board shall, from time to time, set a maximum which may be disbursed by cash. And we want to delete written instrument signed and by cash. The purpose of this recommendation is to allow for disbursement by electronic means, an increasingly significant part of our operations.
Okay, folks, this one is quite easy, I believe, because in light of the COVID environment that we're in, we believe that this is the way to go. So I now invite somebody to move a motion for these are proposed changes to the rule. Yes.
Raquel Francis.
Raquel Francis, Advantage General, seconded by? Julia?
Stewart.
Julia, where are you from again?
Guardian.
Okay. All right, so it has been moved and seconded. The proposal, those in favor? Aye. Against? So we have the
final
rule
one.
change will be adopted in our rules, Mark.
Okay.
Excellent.
And the final rule change that we are proposing, number 27, no officer, member of the Board of Directors, or member of the Credit or Supervisory Committee shall be allowed to borrow from the Society in a total amount in excess of his voluntary shares, deposits, and accumulated earnings, unless approved by 3/4 or 3/4 majority decision of a meeting at which is present at least a quorum of the Credit Committee, together with at least one member, each from the Board of Directors and Supervisory Committee sitting together. The borrowing member shall not be allowed to take part in the meeting. And we'd like to delete sitting together. The purpose of this recommendation is to allow for online meetings and occasions where all can't be present at the same time.
Yeah, folks, the change is similar. The intention of this change is similar to the one that occurred before. It's just to present options for meetings to occur in a socially distant environment, so we can meet virtually online to make all those changes that you want us to do. So I just ask for a person to move that proposal. Gabriel Spence, Sajikor, seconded by? Raquel Francis. Advantage General. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? No changes have been approved. The elections. And before we go there, I'm going to invite the chair of the nominating committee to present his report. Sir Wallen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good afternoon, colleagues and members of the Credit Union. This is, in fact, the report of the nominating committee. The terms of reference of the committee is really to ensure that the committee, and by extension, the credit union, has the requisite skill set to perform creditably and to fulfill its mission and objectives. We want to ensure that the tenets of term limits are adhered to and that there is, in fact, rotation as required. We also want to ensure that the delinquency rules as applied are also enforced and that persons who are selected meet the criteria of fit and proper. We also want to ensure, above all else, that the membership of committees, that the volunteers actually are representative of the spectrum of members of the credit union. In this regard, the committee, which comprises Mark Bowen, Dion White, and myself, we went through the applicable list of persons who were eligible, and we seek to advance to the membership the following nominations. At the level of the board, we are looking at Sherry Cuthbert, Cosmo Walker, Mashery Hamilton Clark, Paulette Small. For the credit committee, we are looking at nominating Newton Nelson and Woodrow Smallwood. And for the supervisory committee, we are looking to nominate the following persons: Napier McCleary, Peter Samuels, Gabriel Spence, Damian White, Dwight Moore, Stephen Levy. Finally, in respect of delegates for the AGM of the League, we are seeking to have nominations for delegate Cosmo Walker, Mark Bowen, and in terms of their replacement or alternate delegates, Lisa Robinson and Michelle Nemhard. So, Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Chair Mark Wallen. So, is at this juncture that all vacancies, that all positions are vacant, and we invite the Department of Cooperative and Friendly Societies to conduct our internal elections.
Good afternoon, fellow corporators. The nominating committee report has been placed before us. In regards to your Rule 65, I will ask for nomination from the floor, and I will do that 3 times. I will now proceed with the Board of Directors. The names of the members nominated are, before I state who's being nominated, we have Mr. Ray Johnson and Ms. Marjorie Nita, who is retiring currently. We want to thank you for your service to the credit union. Members that are being nominated are Sherry Davis Cuthbert, you have Mashery Hamilton, Paulette Small, Cosmo Walker, and these persons will join Mr. Barrington Lawrence, Peter Townsend, Regine Campbell, and Lisa Robinson and Mark Wallen. Are there any nominations from the floor? Going once. Are there any nominations from the floor? Going twice. Are there any other nominations from the floor? There be no nominations. The nominees are duly elected. On to the credit committee. For the Credit Committee, the nominees are Mr. Woodrow Smallwood, the chairman of the Credit Committee, Mr. Newton Nelson, Mr. Odine Campbell, Ms. Arja Wilson, and Mr. Courtney Golding. Are there any nominations from the floor? Going once. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Going twice. Are there any other nominations from the floor? There be no other nominations. The nominees are duly elected. Give them a round of applause. The nominees for the Supervisory Committee are as written: Napier McCleary, Mr. Peter Samuels, Mr. Gabriel Spence, Damian White, and Dwight Moore. Are there any other nominations from the floor? I was advised that Mr. Leavely will be taken off because if, as you know, based on the rule, it would have been 6 and we have to have an odd number. So there be no other nominations. The nominees are duly elected to serve. Approval has been sought from the members to give permission to the board to select delegates to the league, and they are as written. You have Mr. Cosmo Walker, Mr. Mark Bowen, and then we have Miss Lisa Robinson, Miss Michelle Waters Nemhard, and Dion White. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Before I go, I must remind you that the board must meet within 10 days of this election and supply the departments and the league and other stakeholders with the relevant information about the persons serving as president, secretary, and so on. I thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Ms. Thompson, for your kind assistance. In fact, I think the Director of Elections will be very proud of your efforts. So we are on the penultimate, item on the agenda. Any other business? Are there any other business? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? There be none. I now invite a motion for the termination of this AGM from the floor. So moved by Peter Samuel, seconded by Yvonne Lewis. And it's now the time being 4:44. Excellent. Thank you, folks, for coming. All right.